But I tell you what, you know, all the judges in the court down Truro and Bodmin, they had a piss-up night. All the judges, and they pissed as mattresses. The buggers, when the judges get drinking, they have pissy lot of buggers. And one guy, see, he was that bloody sick. He spewed all over his suit, all in his pocket, everywhere. Christ. And when he got home, his wife said, darling, have you been sick? Because judges' wives are very posh. They get out the bath, the piddle, and all that sort of thing. I've often wondered, do these judges' wives talk quite so posh when they're having the portion? It's something I always wondered. Even when I was a little boy, I used to think to these judges' wives, do they talk quite so posh when they're having their whiskers split? It's something I always wondered. Ever since and they bloody do, you know. They talk just as posh, because I was giving one the portion up against a spar shop. Just to see if she'd talk posh when she's having the portion, and she bloody did. Jethro, she said, I'm arriving. But she said, have you been sick? I said, I haven't. He said, there's one of these young boys down to Truro. He said, he's a juvenile delinquent. But he said, he's up in front of me in the court tomorrow. And for him being sick on my suit, I'm going to give him 3 months. She said, I would do, the filthy wretch. He said, proper, got away with that, proper. Next morning, he's in his office before the court started. His wife rung, darling, she said, what a mess that boy made of your suit. Have he been up in front of you yet? No, he said, but don't worry, dear. When he does, I'm going to give him 3 months for being sick on my suit. She said, I would give him 6 months if I were you. He've shit in your trousers as well. But we had Prince Charles down there a fortnight to Tregadilla to open the spring vegetable show. And I said, he had a beautiful hat on. I said, you got a lovely hat. Looked like fox's skin. He said, it is fox's skin. It's made out of fox's skin. I said, I thought, well, when I come in, that's the first thing that I thought. When I come in, you got a fox's hat on. He said, it is. You're absolutely right. It is. I said, that's what, as soon as I come in, Ryan, that's what I saw. Got the fox's hat. And he said, well, I don't normally wear it. But he said, I was having breakfast with Mother this morning, and she said, what are you doing today, Charles? He said, I'm going down to Tregadillet to open the spring vegetable show. Oh, she said, Tregadillet. Wear the fox hat. And that's how he had it on, see? But when he was down in hospital, we had the Queen Mother down there looking around the hospital, the Queen Mother, and she said, what's the matter with you, young man? He said, I got a boil on my bollocks. Shit. Well, we ushered the Queen Mother away and apologized. I said, you uncouth bastard. As if you had to tell that lovely lady you got a boil on your bollocks, you ignorant bugger. I said, in a fortnight, the Queen is coming. Don't you go telling our wonderful Queen you got a boil on your bollocks, you uncouth twat. Well, last Friday, the Queen, we tried to steer the Queen away so she shouldn't ask, but she would bloody ask. And she said, what's the matter with you, young man? Christ. He said, I got a boil on me neck. She said, it must be very, very painful for you. She said, they've cured the one on your bollocks, then. You know, I've had a bloody bad day. When I left home, my 2 daughters was home arguing. They're always bloody arguing. They get on your tripe. Daddy, she said, she won't let me ride the bike. Why can't I ride the bike? I never ride the bloody bike. Then the other bugger started, you bloody lie, you old. I said, for Christ's sake, I said, for Christ's sake, I said, for Christ's sake, I said, for Christ's sake. That's what I said. I said, if you two girls don't stop arguing who's going to ride that bike, I'll put the saddle back on. I said to Denzil, I said, come down and see Plymouth Argyle play. He said, my missus won't let me go. I said, you tell her you're going with Jethro to see Plymouth Argyle play. And if she say no, you pull the knickers off and kick her straight in the fanny. He said, I'll do that. I said, see you down Plymouth. Well, I didn't see him down Argyle. Well, I said, didn't see you down Plymouth. He said, Jethro, he said, I said to my missus, I'm going down with Jethro to see Plymouth play. Which is, oh, no, you're not. He said, oh, yes, I bloody be. She said, oh, no, you're not. He said, I've done exactly what you said. He said, I threw her on the bed and pulled her knickers right off. He said, then I had a look at her. So, I don't know, Plymouth aren't playing all that bloody good. But they're up another division this year, and so they bloody should be. Well done. We'll be watching them very closely, and they said they're going to have a new bowl this season. Plymouth, he was up here playing cricket last week, and they got the West Indian bowler bowling for Salt Ash, bit quick. With Denzil turned his back, and the ball went straight up his ass. We rushed him into there for the hospital, and the surgeon said, what happened? I said, well, he was opening the bathroom for Lou Down. And they got the West Indian from Salt Ash. He's bit quick, and Denzil's turned, and the ball's going right up his ass. He said, how's that? I said, don't you piss and start. I hope you've enjoyed this, my class. You have been a wonderful, wonderful time. Yeah. So let me leave you with a very sobering thought. Treat every day of your life like as if it's your last day on earth, and then one day you will be pissing right. Good night and God bless.